has the microphone and the clicker has recording. So you have 7 minutes starting. Yeah, 7 minutes starting now.
Okay, good afternoon everyone. Thank you for your time today. So we actually Morpheus Labs. Maybe just let me first introduce what is Morpheus Labs. We are a blockchain platform as a service, so it's actually a cloud service. We are different from system integrators. We are not a software provider house, but we are infrastructure play. Okay. So let me just introduce my team. Behan is the co-founder together with myself, and then we have Dorel, who's the CIO, followed by Bruce, who is the CTO. And what's so special about our team is that Dorel is actually the group's CIO for UniCredit Bank. I think most of us are familiar with UniCredit. Bruce himself is actually IBM blockchain consultant. Okay, so in fact, maybe for those of us who are not familiar with blockchain, most of the blockchain projects out there that you see is actually POC, right? But Bruce himself has actually overseen a live project, so something that actually went live with IBM Hyperledger. Okay. So what problems are we trying to solve, right? At the end of the day, if you look at the blockchain scene today, it's very difficult for us to actually so-called join, right, or jump on the bandwagon. There's been a lot of talks, but effectively, what is the distributed ledger technology that I should use? Every other day we hear of people coming up with new blockchains, right? You have NAM, you have Ethereum, you have Bitcoin blockchain, so on and so forth. But how do I even find use cases for that, right? And the other thing is, how do I even get started, right? Do I have to download all the nodes? Do I have to hire blockchain developers? And then the next question is, if you want to find the blockchain developers, where do you find these people? Or do you even have cost or capital to hire these people? So this is our solution. The entire stack is actually set up for you. So at the bottom layer, we have the cloud virtual machines and also the cloud services. And then we have different blockchains actually installed here. So you have Hyperledger, Ethereum, Neo, NAM, you name it, right? So for the customers or enterprises, what they can do is actually just focus on the application layer, right? So that's what they need to do. And you don't have to worry about, how do I install the nodes and things like that. We even have a so-called App Store that has curated all the open source projects, right? So you don't have to reinvent the wheel, just clone from GitHub. That's it, right? So competitors, who are they? The closest is actually Blockco in South Korea. They actually raised about $6 million US. Okay, but let me just highlight what is different from their solution and ours. Theirs is an SDK, right? So you got to download and you got to install. Ours is on the cloud. Okay. In terms of partners, may I just point you to YCH? I think some of us are familiar with them. They're actually one of the biggest logistic and supply chain company in Southeast Asia. So we are actually embarking in a project scoping phase where they are trying out a supply chain project on blockchain. Okay. In fact, they're actually bringing in brand names out there like Johnson & Johnson. At this moment, we are actually on an ICO campaign. We have been covered in many news outlets. Right now, we are in the private placement mode. As of today, I can tell you very happily, we are at 4 to 5 million private placement US dollars. So, what is our business model, right? The bread and butter for us is actually platform subscription. Okay, these are the different tiers. Again, pricing will be subject to change, but at the end of the day, we have different token values attached to different tiers. Okay, other revenue generators, application fees on App Store, right? Cross-selling, partnerships, and finally, we also do ICO services for other companies. In fact, in our pipeline, we have at least 3. So in terms of revenue, again, we are focusing on enterprises. At the end of the day, we see a huge potential in enterprise B2B business. In fact, in a recent Gartner report, the blockchain industry is estimated to be worth $3.2 trillion. So what are we looking for? We're looking for funding. What is it used for? Essentially to develop the platform. We have currently about 7 of us, excluding the 4 co-founders. We are looking for more blockchain developers. And for those of us who are in the blockchain world, you can appreciate that developers are not cheap. Right? More on this coverage. In Dubai, we were ranked 5th out of 22 global bidders. We competed against IBM, Microsoft, Consensus. I myself flew to Dubai to present to the government themselves. Of course, finally they picked Consensus, but I think we held ourselves high against some of these global players. Okay, and these are the rest of the bidder coverage on E27, New Street Asia, Yahoo, and so on and so forth. Right. So, in terms of contact details, this is our details. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask us. I'm very happy to answer them.
Are you raising equity or is it an ICO?
So right now what we're doing is that we have an ICO campaign going on.
Okay.
But at the same time, we are open to any suggestions for any investors that are interested in taking equity. But at the end of the day, we have to evaluate what is the value add for both sides. Oh, by the way, I forgot to introduce my CTO. Yes.
And a technical question.
Sorry?
Is there any industry that ranks on as
I think as of now, if you look at the blockchain industry right now, I think there are several use cases. For example, supply chain. Right? How do I track provenance or the origin of the product? That is a low-hanging fruit. But at the end of the day, how do you go about doing that? Right? So you need expertise. And for Bruce, somebody who has actually implemented a live production project, I think that is extremely valuable. Right? You can ask around. I don't think you can ever find somebody who has implemented a live blockchain project. We're talking about production. Any other questions?
Thank you. Can you go back to the program?
Yep.
Hey, Branson.
Yep.
So if I understand it correctly, or remember correctly, Filecoin is based on distributed storage.
Yep.
You guys aren't doing distributed storage, right? Or you
We are not we are not into the storage as well. We are not into storage per se, but because we are an infrastructure play, so we thought it might make sense to actually include them because they are infrastructure play as well. In fact, maybe just to add on, a lot of the ICO projects out there that you see, they're all tied to one blockchain, right? Case in point, Yahoo existed, I think, almost 20 years ago. Where is Yahoo today, right? Where we are now for blockchain world is very, very early days, right? For you to actually place your bet on any single blockchain platform, I think that's not very wise, right? So for us, we're actually mitigating that risk by basically allowing enterprises to try. At the end of the day, if Ethereum fails, a lot of people say it won't, but let's say Ethereum fails, what happens to all the tons and thousands of ICO projects out there, right? You might have to try another different
So
blockchain.
it's not based on EC20 or any of that. It's your own proprietary private blockchain.
No, we are not. So we are not introducing another blockchain. So that's the main difference. We are helping enterprises to try the different blockchains. So let's say if today I have a project on Ethereum. I spend $1 million, let's say. Then I want to try something else. Maybe I heard that NEO is good in China. Then do I spend another $1 million? Then I heard, oh, there's another blockchain that just came out. Transaction per second went up to 20,000, for example. Do I try another blockchain? So you can keep trying, but those are for companies with deep pockets. So the question is, what about those enterprises out there? So we feel that there's a huge white space that we can actually leverage on. To give you a very good example is, back in the days when there are no websites, everybody has to learn HTML, right? Today, what do we have? There's FrontPage and Dreamweaver, and followed by Wix, All right. If you have gone to YouTube, Google, you would have seen YouTube videos on Wix. We would have seen some other online cloud, web page builder, which is called WordPress, I think, if I'm not wrong. Right. So we are building something similar to WordPress and Wix, which allows people to just drag and drop. Right. Today, if you want to try a blockchain, how do you get started?
So if enterprise wants to use you, they can either pay by obviously your tokens or fiat, right?
So once we have done this ICO campaign, we will accept only tokens.
So you can't pay by fiat at all.
They would have to purchase the tokens here.
And it'll be on what exchange? Is it already tradable right now? Because you ICO'd already, right?
So we are in the private placement. We haven't completed the ICO. So we have actually agreement with 2 exchanges.
Gemini, what are you guys going to be on?
It's actually OKX and BCX in Hong Kong, I think, if I'm not wrong. Yeah.
Can you actually offer that to the banking industry?
Yes, yes. I think
in terms
so,
of
yeah.
what?
Yes, I think our platform is scalable. Yeah, you can from small company to big company. Yeah, and also from all the industries, they all can use our platform to create their industry-specific applications. Banking is just one of them.
Then where will you focus first? Like, what's the go-to-market like?
So for right now, we are actually focusing in supply chain because we have at least 2 customers talking to us based on that, YCH. We also have another company, actually it's a group of law firm. They have offices all over the place, but they're actually putting all the patent filings on blockchain. Patent filing is actually a very geographic specific exercise, so you got to do plenty of searches all over the place. So when you put it on blockchain, you try to make it searchable across any jurisdictions.
So question, why would you not take fiat? Because just, I work in enterprise, I did Google Enterprise, and I can't imagine we would ever have to go on exchange, convert our fiat to your token, and then purchase your service.
I think that's a fair statement. I think at the end of the day, for us, it's something that we have to consider. But at the end of the day, I think what we want to do is actually to also protect some of our ICO investors, right? So the question is, if we, put this on ICO in terms of the tokens, and then I allow fiat, we have to, we have to be very careful. We have to track carefully. But then, yeah.
Sorry. Would you know whether the shift does it allow Ethereum to fiat or fiat to Ethereum? Do they allow that?
So Shapeshift.io is actually a platform for you to convert between different cryptocurrencies. There's something called the USDT, which is the USD Tether, which I think you know about that as well. Yeah. So that's another story. So at the end of the day, because the blockchain world develops very fast, what we are trying to do is actually to keep tabs on different developments here.
So your ICO, what do you guys accept? USDT, Bitcoin, ETH?
So only ETH and Bitcoin as of now. Yeah. Any other questions? I think maybe I'll just make one point.
For your ICO campaign, which are the countries that you have marketed to, and which are those countries that have responded to you?
So we are marketed to a lot of countries. I think so far we are not allowing US citizens and US residents because of SEC and some of the regulatory compliance statements that have been made. But so far we have reached out to Russia, China. We have seen very good responses, which is why I said we have about 4 to 5 million USD as of today.
Which are the countries again?
China, Russia,
Russia,
Malaysia, Australia as well.
Japan,
Japan.
showing.
Japan, yeah.
5.
Yeah.
So the Howey test wouldn't apply to you guys, right? Because you're not focusing on US investors?
Sorry, come in.
The Howey test won't apply to you guys, right? 'Cause you guys
Yes.
aren't focused.
Yeah. So yeah, good point. Because at the end of the day, the US SEC says that anything that is ICO, they actually call it a security. So we're trying to stay away from that.
Will there be fungibility between the equity and ICO? So that's an important, because it will give liquidity for the equity guys, right?
Yeah, so I think that is something that we can talk about. At the end of the day, I think equity, once you have the stake in the equity, obviously, in terms of the holdings that we have, yeah.
Okay, thank you very much.
That's my bread. But they gave me 7 credit.